Hey, hello guys. I hope all of you must have installed the personal gateway onto your own machines, and you must have configured it as we have discussed in the initial half of this module. And your gateway must be working very properly, and you are able to schedule the refresh for your datasets automatically. That's wonderful. If you have any queries, definitely you can ask me and go ahead. And if you remember, last time we have done this, we have seen the refresh history, we have gone to the gateway connection, it's working properly, absolutely fine, no problem. The data source credentials, we have discussed about them, scheduled refresh. So we have set up the refresh as well. Everything we have done. Okay, but one point which came into my, which was left was parameters. And why do we need these parameters? So this part we'll discuss here into this module, into this half of this module, and we'll finish it up. So what the first problem comes to my mind is what exactly is the problem? The problem is, okay, I have set up the refresh automatically. I have done to set up the refresh automatically, but let's say suppose my data has total 15 years of data, and it is containing more than 1 billion number of rows, where every day more than 10,000 rows are getting inserted. So if I will continuously refreshing the whole data set, the whole historical data set, okay, it will may start take a lot of amount of time. Okay, so what I want from Power BI is to give some feature to me where I can apply the incremental refresh, where I can apply the incremental refresh settings into our data sets. Let's talk about this. What is the meaning of this incremental refresh? As I told you that we are not interested to refresh the whole historical data. Maybe you are interested to refresh, maybe you are very sure that okay, the data must have been updated for the last 10 days only, and that is the real scenario. The data may get updated for last 5 days, 10 days, but not before that. Okay, so I'm not interested to load the whole historical data again and again, to refresh and load the whole historical data again and again, because definitely it will take a huge amount of time, and it will be totally wastage of resources as well. So for avoiding this problem, Power BI has given a very nice feature called as incremental refresh. Okay, so what about this incremental refresh? It definitely gives us three main features, three main facilities. First, the refreshes are very quicker in comparison to refreshing the whole data set, because definitely compare refreshing the data for the last 10 days in comparison to last 10 years is definitely very faster. More reliable, because definitely if you are loading the whole data set from historical for the last 10 years, 15 years, maybe your credentials will session timeout problem will again and again it will happen, and you will face a lot of problems as well. So it will be more reliable as well to just go ahead and refresh it for the last 10 days. Resource saving, yes, definitely reduce the resource consumption, and very helpful. So that's what the agenda. I'll explain you practically how to apply this incremental refresh on your data sets. Okay. So for that, we have to do four steps. I'll tell you one by one step. The first step is define the filter parameter into your data set, which we'll do using the Power Query editor. Use the parameters, what you have created to apply the filters on your data set. Define the incremental refresh policy, and then finally save and publish the changes to your Power BI services. Okay, so that it can be configured onto the cloud. Great. So let's talk about how to define these filter parameters. What filter parameters I have to define? I have to define two filter parameters. The one is for range start, and the other one is range end. What are these two? Let's talk about them now. What is range start is I want to tell Power BI that okay, I want to refresh the data set. I want to load the data set from maybe let's say year 2015 to year 2020. I don't want to start it from year 2000 once again and load from a beginning of 2000 to 2020. I don't want to do that. I want to load the data set from my range start of 1st January 2015, and my range will end up on 31st December 2020. Okay. So in between of that, whatever values of data in between of that range, I want to load that data set only. Okay. So let's see how to do that. So let's go back. Let's come back to practical way. So if we go to Power BI and we'll open up transform data, we'll open up Power Query editor window. So here in the home menu bar itself, you will find the option of manage parameters. What exactly is this manage parameters? So make sure that your fact table is having the in the sales table, sorry, the fact table, the data type should be date and time. So it's already working absolutely fine. I don't have any problem from that. So now click on manage parameters. So click on new parameter. Okay, and give the name of your parameter as I told you, range start. Okay, if you want to put any description, you can put so that your team members can get a help out of it to understand it. Okay, and then type. Make sure that you are selecting date and time. Don't do any mistake here. Make sure that you are selecting date, time, paradigm, and keep the suggested value any value only, because we are not giving a list of value, a query or nothing. We are giving just any value only. And what is the current value from where I want to start my range? I want to start my range for this particular data set. I'm starting from, let's say, 2005, and the timing will be 12:00:00 a.m. That's it. Okay, so I said that okay, I want to load the data from year 2005. I don't want to start from year 1999. I want to start from year 2005, from 1st January 2005. So I'm done with the first parameter. Hit on OK. Done. It will be defined here on the other query section. Great. Now click on once again manage parameter. Click on new parameter. This time the parameter name will be range end. Okay. So ending range. So range end. Once again, you can put some description if required. Select the data type as date and time. Keep the values as any value only. And current value I want to give, let's say, 31st December 2020. Okay, or whatever range you want to apply. So give the timing as 12:00:00 a.m. once again. Absolutely fine. Done. Hit OK. Done. Great. Now, as I told you, this is our first step. Now we need to apply these parameters to our sales fact filtering for filtering the data. So I'll go to sales and I'll select my date column. I'll click on this arrow button here and click on date time filters and click on custom filter. As soon as I do that, it will ask me, okay, I want to say that, okay, I want the data is after or equal to what? Equal to a parameter of range start. Choose the parameter from your drop down. Yes, range start. And then I want the dates which is before before or equal to the second parameter, which is my range end. Then hit OK. It will take 1 minute of time to filter the data. Yes, just give it 1 or 2 minutes of time. Great. So it is done now. So hit on close and apply. Definitely it will take 1 or 2 minutes of time to start loading the data here. We have to wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Meanwhile, you can go ahead on your own machines and start creating the same parameters which I have done as per your data set or any of the project in which you are working right now. We'll take a pause of 2 minutes. So meanwhile, it will keep on loading. Just give me 1 or 2 minutes. Sometimes when the data is very huge, definitely it takes a little bit longer kind of time. Sometimes may irritate us, yes, but we have to do it. So make sure that you are correct selecting the correct range as per the requirement of your team. You are selecting the correct range for your two filters. Okay, for your two parameters, the range start and the range end. Great. So now it's done. Now we have the data from the filter applied. And now the next step, what we need to do, we have done two initial steps. We have defined the parameters. We have applied the parameters to our filtering. And now we have loaded the data back. So now we are moving for the third step. So where do you need to apply this incremental refresh policy? So go on to your sales fact table. Definitely, I am interested to apply the incremental refresh here only in this table. So right click on the sales fact table and you will find the option of incremental refresh. As soon as you hit on that, you will it will give you some warning that okay, if you remember initially I discussed a very important feature of query folding. The same thing it is giving here. You can leave it for right now. Make sure that you are keep turning the button on of the incremental refresh. Now it is asking you store the rows from where column in the last what. Again, I want to say that okay, I want to store the data into my data set only for last 5 years. Okay, select the value for days, months, or years. I want to say years, and refresh the last 10 days rows only. Refresh the data for last 10 days of rows only. Okay, done. Now hit on apply all. Great, done. Save your changes. Okay, and hit on publish button. Okay, so now what we have done, we have told Power BI that okay, I want to load the data for my last 5 years. And inside, after loading my data, I want to daily refresh my data set as per my space or what the schedule parameters which I have given to refresh my data set. I want to refresh the data set only for last 10 days every time. Okay, so don't refresh the data set from beginning every time whenever it's happening, the refresh operation is happening. It should not begin from beginning of the for the historical data. I want to begin. I want to refresh for the last 10 days only. Okay, a beautiful and a wonderful feature which helped us to do a lot of resource saving plus a lot of uh, time saving as well. Okay, a very smart operation. If you remember when we were discussing about the direct query mode, the live connection mode, so these features are not applicable on that part. The reason is they are automatically already refreshed. This is we require when we are importing the data into Power BI. This option is required when you are importing the data into the Power BI. Okay, it is not required for live connection or direct query because we are already fetching the data directly from the source. So we don't need to be worried. It will only give us the updated data every time. Okay. So now if you go to parameters, you will find but it's already defined. Don't worry. It's not showing here, but maybe possible on this data set. Okay. Just a moment. But our parameters has already been defined. It's not refreshed here. I think so. It will be, but we have defined the parameters and whatever refresh schedule you will do, it will handle up this one automatically. It will set up the refresh. Incremental refresh policy has been set up properly. So you don't need to be worried about that. Leave it, move ahead and do practical on your own machine. So I have added some screenshots here. What I have done, the same thing which I have done, I have applied the filter. Then we have applied those filters into our data set using the parameters. Both the parameters done, and then we loaded the data set, and then finally we have applied the incremental refresh policy. Okay, so make sure that you practice it. A very useful feature. So make sure that you are going through it, practicing it. That's it for this module. In the last half of this module, for 5-10 minutes, we'll talk about the last feature, which is a cache memory, a caching of the data. I can call it as a caching of the data. So we'll talk about that in for last 5-10 minutes, and then we'll have some query sessions, and then it will be done. So great. Enjoy your time and make sure to practice it. Okay. If any queries, please let me know. Thank you so much.